This is my reflection for the final research project of the R4B class, and I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about my motivations for researching about this topic and why it seems interesting to me and why I see a potential solution in the future. So I'm originally from Mexico, and I have a lot of experience living through the different social problems that Mexico suffers from. One of the biggest problems is how the government can deploy and manage public services. And they're usually very underfunded, and the people in charge aren't as competent or with the best intentions that they should actually have. So it's something interesting where you have like some institutions that work and some institutions that don't work, and some of them depend on others. So when a single piece is fraudulent or isn't working at its best, then it really shakes the whole pyramid and brings in a lot of instability. And this is what's happened to the cadaster department of municipal governments in Mexico and also in Latin America, where they suffer from a lack of access to resources that will allow them to collect information about the municipality, geographical information. And this lack of access to resources directly cripples the municipality's ability to collect property tax. So this ends up becoming a vicious cycle where these municipalities are stuck. And I believe that technology can serve as a tool to help municipalities jump out of that vicious cycle. So I believe that by using satellite imagery and machine learning models, you can generate a ground truth or a source of truth that the municipalities can utilize to build on top of. So you have a mapping of all the different properties that exist on the terrain of the municipality. You know attributes about its material, its size, its square footage. Whether it has a pool or a backyard, or if it's multiple stories. So you have this information, this like digital twin of the municipality, and then the real challenge is overlaying that with citizen data and parcel data, so you can determine who owns that property and who should be paying the property tax for that property. But once you create that connection, that's when municipalities can really start improving the way they collect property taxes and improving the collection rates. Yeah, that's like what I think the resource side of the problem is. But then there's a really big social part of the problem as well, where Mexicans don't pay property tax. I think 40% of the population is delinquent on their property taxes. So it's almost ingrained into society, understanding or this belief that giving money to the government doesn't create results. And what ends up happening is that the government pardons the different debts that are owed. So if you go 3 years without paying property tax, maybe the fourth year they'll say like, hey, okay, you know what? Come in, pay 1 year, and we'll erase your fine or your debt. We'll erase your debt, but just give us 25% of it or something. And that's because they need the money, and well, of course they do it. So you don't have a pressure for paying property tax on a consistent basis. And then that's like the social side of the problem. So it's really interesting to ideate how technology could potentially solve the resource side, and to begin to attack the social side of the problem. I think the best way to do it is to prove to the citizens that government public services are efficient, and they could be efficient, and show that with increased revenues and more transparency, you can actually achieve more efficient public service management. Yeah. I do think, however, there's like a big divide between getting the means or building the means to access that data, and actually the municipality signing off on it and saying, I want this, and implementing it. Because most of the times the mayors are happy as they are. They like the opaqueness that there is in their system, because opacity means that they can do things behind the covers. So when you introduce a tool like this that will track all of property, this huge asset this set of assets that are physical, when you project this transparency on it, it makes it harder to be fraudulent and corrupt with properties. It's even very common for small mayors in small municipalities to give out land to their family members because they're in control of the property registry. So they'll give land to their family members and to their friends and to themselves, which it just has a great impact on society. Yeah, that's like the quick 5-minute or 6-minute overview of the whole problem, and in words instead of in a paper. I'm really interested in this because I've seen firsthand what lack of access to property ownership rights is and how it affects individuals. And I think it would be a big step for my country to be able to establish property right laws and promote property ownership, because it would even help the middle and the low class leverage their assets to become more stable. Thank you.